Welcome back to the Property Power Couple with Colton and Haleigh, providing comfort and confidence to your real estate experience.
Yes. Hi.
Howdy.
Hello. Howdy.
So, balance.
Oh, what a fun word.
It's a dumb word.
Yes.
It's unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic. And I really like how our friend Steven said that it's not necessarily a work-life balance. It is a work-life harmony.
Yeah.
And I think that verbiage really changed a lot for us. Stop trying to balance it all, because balance is not 50-50. Balance is not, I have this exact amount of time for this and it is a harmony. Like, especially for entrepreneurs, self-employed. Our house is its own business. Our 3 other businesses that we run are, brokerage, property management, personal real estate, Kinley, everything. It all works together. And if our real estate industry, if our business is not flowing, then the house cannot flow. It is a harmony.
When I think it was, in that same, that day that he said that about harmony, I think it was Ryan who said, or it might have been Steven.
One of them, yeah.
One of them, I don't know, but he said, you got to run your house like a business too.
Yeah.
And they said that, and I immediately went, ugh, he's right. Why didn't we think about it that way?
And yeah.
Because we got checklists for we got checklists for the checklist.
Well, yeah, so you don't miss anything.
Well, of course, God forbid. But you go to the house and it's like, all right, are you doing dishes or am I doing dishes? And I get there's a trade-off and a harmony, and you got to go do this with Kinley or whatever. But when he said that, man, it clocked me, right? Chin checked me to use their phrase. But I think that has been probably one of the more interesting things that I was not expecting about not just being married but also working together, is that we have these really, they're a little murkier than I think either of us would care to really like to tell people, I guess. Yeah, like how our roles in the businesses go. But then to also take that back to the house and go, well, who's doing what and how do we navigate this? And that part I don't think I was really prepared for, I think, mentally going into
working with your spouse is intense. It's extremely rewarding. Not all spouses can do it, and I totally understand that. We got very lucky, very blessed that we can. Yeah. But we work at it really hard.
It's a daily effort.
And we really worked on that balance, that harmony, and with the understanding that it shifts.
Yeah.
And different phases of life, different things are happening. If one business needs more attention, we work really hard to know what the other one does. So when they need support, we can take it on.
Yeah.
It's not that every night Haleigh does the dishes and Colton, does the laundry. It's what does the other person need right now? And it's not always an exact 50-50. You do have to work here, I do have to work here, and so on. It is knowing where that person's at. Yeah. And if you had 27 appointments and you were in the car for a straight 8 hours going from showings to appointments and with clients all day, and I was in the office doing the behind the scenes work, I'm gonna have more bandwidth to go home and make dinner. Yeah. I'm gonna have more bandwidth to do the dishes. Yeah. Right, and vice versa. If I had a really intense day of trainings and clients and all of this stuff that was going on, and my cup is pretty empty now because I poured into everyone else all day.
Yeah, probably ordering pizza.
Right? But and there's some days when it's like, I'm just done. Yeah. And there's some days, the hardest days is when we are both just tapped out. Like we were both just tapped out, and we have to go home and be on for our kiddo after a real estate day when all the real estate things happened and the deal fell through and this broke and this client and that, and that's okay. But really trying to figure out who does want the best, how can I support that person, and then letting them do it.
Well, and I think, the more as you were saying that, the thing to me that stuck out was like, it's life. And life finds a way to get a little difficult sometimes.
It's really good at that.
Well, and then, I mean, like, you can see our desks, right? Like, this is the proximity, right? And so
he works there and I work there.
There's some layers to it, you know. Occasionally, it's not all sunshine and daisies. But speaking of sunshine and daisies, my question to you is, when you get to that point, right? Your cup's empty, you're done. Like, can't do anything else, and it goes on for more than a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever the case, and you're ready to have the conversation of, hey, I'm empty. Yeah. you need to fill this up. You know, I'm just curious, what is your I don't know, how do you do that?
Well, I think it's like everything that we just talked about in that last episode on your mindset, and getting back into that track and being able to ask and say that, hey, business partner, spouse, you know, we share everything, and you know, it sucks right now and I need you to help, or here's what I'm feeling. And not just getting mad that the dishes aren't done, not just getting mad that my checklist didn't get done, and just keeping all of that to myself when I say I'm frustrated because none of these things happen and I still have to go home and do all this and I am empty. I am just on E. And you can say, okay, well, one is one of the things I can do.
Yeah. Well, I'm laughing because I have a tendency to do that. I think I call it anger cleaning. You know, where
you do that.
And I've had to check that, right? Of, okay, hey, why are you scrubbing that dish so hard, man?
Or like, why in the middle of this chill time did you just get up and just start like going through and banging things and opening and like,
it's really, you know, 7 cabinets? That's what you needed to do.
Okay, you just cleaned out the Tupperware cabinet. Like, one is wrong. Yeah. One is wrong.
Yeah.
And you did that the other day. And it's like, you know.
In my defense, that time I wasn't mad cleaning. I just, you know, it was really annoying to me. I opened up the cabinet and they all fell out. It was like, okay,
it's time to handle this problem. It's time to look that one in the eye and just deal with it.
Why are there 12 lids and 4 actual containers? Yeah.
But, you know, and it's hard when we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be able to handle everything.
Yeah.
Especially whenever outside people always say, man, I don't know how you do it all.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it all. You do this, you volunteer here, you help out here, I don't know how you do it all. And it's like, well, I can't do it all.
Yeah.
I have to lean on other people to do it.
It's a whole
that was a whole other learning curve of how do I do it all? Well, I don't. We outsource it and we figure out who's good at what and, you know, who can do what. And when that day comes and you're just empty or you're just angry and like, it's nothing with us, and I'll come back to that thought I just had, but you know, being able to articulate that and say, hey, if you can run the comps on that one for me and send them to me, that would be so incredibly helpful. If we can order food, or if we can, you know, what is the least number of dish that we can make tonight because I can't handle any more, you know, being able to say that. And to the thought I just had too, being able to ask, I know you're upset, is there something I did? And then when the person says no, for us, believing that no, it's not you.
Yeah, that one's tough for me.
It's hard because you always think that I'm mad at you, and sometimes
and
like
I'm perfect, so it's difficult
obviously,
to think that you could ever be mad at me.
I'm never mad at you, but like obviously we're married, okay? Yeah. There are some times when yes, like you did something, I did something, or it's the 15th time we've had this conversation and we can't get out of this rhythm or whatever it is. But also like trusting the fact that it's not me right now.
Yeah.
And there's so many other factors that if let's just give it a minute.
Yeah.
And it'll probably, you know, we can talk about it in a second, but just try not to take that all on personally, that you're mad right now, or you're frustrated, or you're whenever the phone call just went horribly, the person just backed out of the thing, or rescheduled, or contracts falling apart, or whatever it is, and not being like, oh my God, he's mad at me.
Yeah.
No, he's not. I just am in all these scenarios.
Yeah, I'm just connected.
Yeah, I just also work with you. So trying to do that and trying to let that be the truth.
Yeah.
That no, it's not you. There's just a lot going on right now, and I'm not going to be in a perfect mood right now.
Yeah.
There's too much happening.
just want to shake it.
But to kind of shift just a little bit, but like, you know, us realizing who's good at what we do, and going through there.
So I was actually going to take us there with you have improved greatly on not doing everything.
I'm working very hard on
this.
It's
a daily task. It's an effort, but you're doing it. And I just want to set it up because I know where you're going. It was a difficult time in our business of just so many things happening. And I remember coming to you and saying, hey, let me help. Let me take some of this admin stuff off your plate. And I remember being so confident that I could totally do this.
She can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Now you can go.
So we had just had Kinley, and this is just a good story about learning each other's strengths and then leaning into those strengths. And so, you know, we had just had Kinley and COVID was happening and all of these things. And so like any business, things are shifting and changing all the time. Well, at this point in time, maternity leave is not written into the real estate rules world anywhere. That's not real. And so it was
contracts from the delivery room.
We literally did that. And so how do we adjust now? Loving husband, business partner says, why don't you let me turn in all the files? Like everything's already executed and done. Let me take that off your plate. It's not a massively time consuming thing, but it's a little tedious, and like, just let me take that off your plate. I'm like, cool, that would be great. I don't have to worry about that part. It's fine.
Idea.
So Colton starts doing all this, and he's gonna turn them all in, and you know, he's never done that part before because he's had me, and I've always done that. Or we had an assistant or somebody that was doing that. And so at the time we had a team member, and it was like, I can't physically be out on appointments right now. Like we have a newborn at home, like I can't be going on these appointments. So pushing that onto someone else, and then you try and take on some other stuff. What lasted like 2 weeks.
Barely.
I think like 2 weeks of him asking me questions constantly about how to do this, what to do, all of that. And I realized, if I take that back, it's definitely less stressful than you doing it. You're not good at it, and that sounds so mean.
That is rude, and it's on camera.
And I know, that's why I laughed, but it was not your strength.
Yeah.
It would have saved us so much time and energy if instead I would have said, actually, why don't you call these 7 people and I can handle that.
Yeah.
Because it's harder to talk on the phone with the kiddo, with the baby.
Yeah.
When's she gonna cry? When's she gonna wake up? When's she gonna do anything?
Yeah.
It would have been easier to say, instead of taking something that was frustrating me at the moment, into actually wanting something that you are good at, that you can take off my plate, instead of what's the most annoying thing.
Well, and not only that, but I think I'd rather slam my head in a door than go back and do all this.
And then we graduated to hiring the right person in the right seat, and that's all done. But you know, learning that and then saying that didn't work. That didn't work, let's adjust again.
Yeah.
That didn't work, let's adjust. And you know, understanding the different skill sets and the styles and the things. Like we don't even run a CMA the same way.
Yeah.
And we still can get the same result.
Mine's usually
better, but you know,
the data does not bear that out.
But that just, you know, there's not always one way to do it. And for me, you know, especially when it came to property management, really letting you and Kelsey take that and run with it. And I'm just coming in whenever needed. But I didn't want to be so removed that if something happened, I couldn't do it.
Right.
So that was a really, really balancing act, you know, a harmony act to figure out how we're gonna make that work.
Yeah.
I think it has. And in the same turn, I had to help you learn how to delegate.
Yeah, that was a new that was a new challenge that I didn't even realize was going to be a challenge, because there were things that I wanted to control that they're important. And so when you're talking about deadlines and dates and things have to go out by a certain time, especially with the property code and making sure that everything is as it should be and all the insurance is good. And what I found was that it was better to just get out and be like, I was the obstacle. And so you built the system, we built the system, it's all in place. Just get out of the way and let it go.
Yeah.
And you don't have to control every single detail. The big ones matter. Right?
Yes.
But how it gets
there. We work really hard on surrounding ourselves with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's letting those people do the things.
Right.
And it was funny for me because it was constantly you telling me, no, let Christian do that. No, let that person do that. No, that's not something that you have to do. And a lot of times agents make mistakes of hiring an assistant or hiring someone to go do something that takes up a lot of time instead of hiring someone to do something so you can spend all the energy on that time.
Right.
That's actually making the money and let them do all the other things. Yeah. And so I've been working on that for years, but it's getting better. And then me having to say to you, well, that sounds like a Kelsey thing.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a Kelsey thing. Well, and all of a sudden, like, oh my goodness, all the things that I push off, that I don't get done on time, that they're not hard things. I should be able to do these.
Yeah.
Well, your priority is getting that next door, getting that next client say yes, handling that problem. You have to do all that stuff. So when we took these 3 things that aren't time consuming, but very important, put them on Kelsey, man, they're done every time, and you've gotten more clients.
No, shit,
that's not just a marriage thing. That's just like an in general balance thing. But kind of wrap it up because we could talk about this for a long time.
Delegating laundry to somebody else. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it absolutely is.
We need to figure that out.
I think they have apps for that now.
What about cooking? I guess hire a chef.
Yeah, if y'all could send us more referrals, so we could afford a chef and someone to do our laundry. That would be
delegate
so great.
Cooking.
So more referrals equals we can delegate those 2 things off. Yeah. But I'm very proud of the fact that we get complimented a lot on our communication skills as a married couple.
Yeah. And
it goes to business, it goes to everything else. If we're going through a hard time, whether it's financially or business or, sometimes a lot of business is equally as stressful as no business because there's just a lot of different factors. And that is one thing that we do. You do not let me not talk.
Yeah.
And where sometimes I'm like, oh my God, just leave me alone. I will figure this out. I need a minute, which is allowed. And then you're like, you had your 3 minutes. It's time to talk again. But, I am very proud of the fact that other people have said it to us that, man, we don't see a lot of couples that communicate like y'all.
Yeah.
Or man, y'all communicate so well, and we just don't let communication be a problem.
Well, I think it's just that our goals are aligned.
We know what they are. Our goals are aligned. Our why is aligned.
It would be impossible for us to do all this and not be on the same page, and because of how closely we are functioning. It just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't. And on the desk thing, it's kind of funny because whenever we first started, right, we were in like an office, we were all in one office. And then that was kind of hard, but we kind of scheduled it out where if you were going to be on an appointment, that's whenever I would be making calls. So we weren't trying to talk over each other, and we made it work. And then when we moved into this location, and it was like, okay, you need your own space. And so we put you in across the hall and me over here. And that worked because at the time we needed that. We were still figuring out how to work together. We were still figuring out how property management was going to grow.
The separate office did cut down on difficult conversations that we would have.
And so we needed it at the time.
Yeah.
And then once we got back in the rhythm of working together, once we worked through some of these harder things and some of these conversations, we were in the other one's office a lot more because, for the little one-offs, hey, how, where is this at? Where is this at? How can I help you get this thing done? Or, hey, let's tag team this. We'll get it done half the time and then we can go get Kinley, Once we started realizing that, I was like, well, we can be in the same office again.
Yeah.
And now it's everyone likes to joke about when they walk in, I cannot believe you work that close to them. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but we already went through we need our own space thing.
Yeah.
And we ultimately have done better when we're like this and respecting each other enough to say, hold on, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
Or, you say all the time, hey, when you get a minute, I need to do this. And then I work on not saying, okay, saying, okay, yeah, let me finish this.
Yeah.
And then let's go.
Well, it's I can't have my email open either. I just, you get into a task and you're doing something and then something pops off, the phone goes off, you've got a question, whatever it is, it pulls your focus away. And I think, it's taken some time to find the harmony in all of it, but
Yeah, but we've been working together for almost 6 years now. Almost 6 years now. And things will change again.
Oh yeah.
Something else will come up, and maybe eventually we cannot be in the same office again, right? I mean, things are going to change always, but it's in your marriage, in your work, and all of it, you just got to adapt with that change. Like different phases of life come, different things happen, and you just got to be able to adapt and be able to talk about it. And it sounds so easy just saying, we just talk about it. We just talk about it. But we really do. Yeah. And also, keeping the respect factor in line, that there are things that you are much better at than I am.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any of them, but
Well, of course not. Yeah.
But there are definitely things that you are better at. Definitely things that it's like, if I would just step back and let you handle that, it would be done, and vice versa. And so realizing those, respecting those.
Yeah.
And then just what's the goal? We know the goal. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get there, and we're not going to over talk about the goal.
Yeah.
Because we spend too much time talking about our goal. We're not spending enough time working on getting there.
Yeah.
And so, we just.
Well, I think that's where you just, for me, a lot of it was just checking the pride at the door, because coming from a different profession, a different area, you build up a certain level of where you believe you were at, and then it's like, okay, hold on, no, I'm irritated about what you said, but not because of how you said it or what you said, but because of how I'm internalizing all of that.
Yeah, because I want to already know that, and I still need to ask for help or whatever it is.
It's a process.
One of my favorite things I get to say now is, I don't know, that's a Colton question.
Yeah.
Is like one of my favorite sentences, because someone's like, hey, for property management, and I'm like, oh,
I would
Colton
just
question.
prefer that you answer all of the questions, but. Yeah.
Well, anyways, we're working on our harmony.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out. But I hope that helped a little bit, or got something. It's real and it's hard, and we just figure it out.
The Property Power Couple, achieving harmony, comfort, harmonizing comfort and confidence.
Let's not try to rebrand.
btrgpm.com, nexttimemain.com, socials, all the things.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.